From the Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 6, verses 30 to 44. The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. As he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. When it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is now very late. Send them away so they may go into the surrounding country and villages and buy something for themselves to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "Are we to go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat?" And he said to them, "How many loaves have you? Go and see." When they had found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he ordered them to get all the people to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and of 50s. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. And all ate and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. Those who had eaten the loaves numbered 5,000 men.
In the first introduction, you heard how Jesus' attention was caught by a leper, someone who had lived a life in enforced isolation because of this illness. Jesus healed that person, breaking their exclusion and reintegrating them into social and religious society. Our next text is also from Mark, who paints us a picture rich in reference to the Hebrew scriptures in the 6th chapter of his Gospel. Once again, we find Jesus in a deserted place. 3 times that phrase, deserted place, is repeated in the text, which makes us think of the Exodus experience of God's people in the desert. Mark will show us Jesus acting as God acts in the Hebrew Bible. In the first text, Jesus prayed alone, but here he's with his disciples who have been listening to his teaching. I'd like to suggest 3 points for your reflection. First of all, notice Jesus' instruction to his disciples. Come away, he says, by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while. Jesus cares for his disciples. They've just returned from preaching in the villages around. He understands that they cannot rush around all the time. The word rest, it makes us think of the Sabbath rest. And they leave by boat and go to the other side of the lake. It's in moments of rest and quiet that their faith will be reborn and nourished. It's in moments like that that their connection with Jesus will be renewed. In that respect, their rest, it's a creative source. How do I let Jesus lead me into a deserted place? Many of us during these past months have had to learn to live at a different rhythm. But what does Sabbath rest mean for me? But that quiet is short-lived. soon a crowd gathers. And Jesus, he cannot escape. I remember Brother Roger quoting often a Christian writer from the first centuries who said, the Christian vocation is so beautiful, it's not possible to run away from it. And here we see at the approach of the crowd, Jesus doesn't run away, he doesn't flee what's before him. And as a second point of reflection, I'd like to ask you to look at Jesus' reaction. We're told that Jesus' heart is moved by pity for the crowd. He has compassion upon them. Something deep down is touched within him. Because we're told they're like sheep without a shepherd. We're reminded of the text in Ezekiel chapter 34, where God has compassion on the hungry sheep that are God's people and promises to be their shepherd. Jesus feels what the crowd feels. He suffers with them. That's the meaning of his compassion. Jesus is one with them. Later, he will make them sit down in groups. Literally, the text says meal-sharing groups. It reminds us of God's instructions for sharing the Passover meal in Exodus chapter 12, where the people were encouraged to share food together, especially with those who didn't have any. And the green grass upon which the crowd will sit down sends us back to Psalm 23, where the Lord is my shepherd. So we see the caring, nurturing, almost motherly aspect of God in Jesus' actions here. So when I see the reaction of Jesus to the crowd, what does that inspire within me? Thirdly, we see this huge contrast between the reaction of Jesus with the reaction of the disciples. The disciples, when they see the crowd approaching, want to send the people away. Where is their compassion? Today, we might say that they have compassion fatigue. They're tired of all these people following them all over the place. The situation, it seems desperate, and they feel overwhelmed. They think they need far more than what they have, than what is possible to find in order to help the people. But Jesus overcomes their fatigue by simply asking them to give what they have. In the journey of God's people through the desert in Exodus, when the people had nothing, God produced bread from heaven. The disciples here produce 5 loaves and 2 fish. What they find, they offer to Jesus. When we think we have almost nothing, if we're prepared to give that little, be it material, or our time, or our ear, or our attention, when we give those things to Jesus, we can be astounded at what we discover. That little becomes a lot. In our story, there's even food left over at the end. 12 baskets full. 1 for each of the 12 tribes of God's people that in some way represents the human family. I remember some time ago meeting someone after evening prayer in the church in Teze, and she told me that she was suffering from a terminal illness. but that she wanted to do something to help those around her. She could see need among the refugees in her town. And I asked her what kind of need did she see? And she replied, well, perhaps someone who can help them to learn our language, who can meet with them, who can listen to them. And that was what she decided to go home to do in the time she had left to live. I don't know if this person is still alive, but I'm sure that there are people who benefited from what she gave. She gave what she was able to give. What is the little that I am being asked to give at this moment? When we let Jesus lead us into the desert, when we try to mirror his compassion in our lives, when we offer the little that we have to those whom we encounter, an experience of communion becomes possible that we'd hardly dared hope for. Are we ready for that?